Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we have a new DevBlog announcing some pretty wonky and crazy new ships, as well as bringing us some updates to the ships that were announced in the previous DevBlog video that were these crazy ships that started at like half HP, and they had a new burst fire mode that had limited ammo, which led many of us to question of whether or not Wargaming was thinking about trying to introduce premium ammo into the game. And that update is where we will start this video at, since that was a very invigorating bit of information for many of us. So link to this DevBlog is linked down below. The updates about premium ammo is actually at the bottom of the DevBlog. That's where we're starting, because again, that's what most of you are probably interested in. And then we'll go back and take a look at the new ships that have been announced. So let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Again, link to this is in the description down below. So again, at the bottom of the article, they mention about the limited shell mechanics, as they are calling it. So they say, after the initial announcement of the new limited shell mechanic, some of you expressed concerns about its purpose and future. We want to address these concerns. Number one, limited shells is a standalone mechanic and not a testbed for premium ammo. So very clear off the top. 2. Limited shells are tied to specific ships and function similarly to existing gameplay mechanics, such as the burst fire mode available on ships like Conde, Edgar, and Zorky, which also feature improved shell characteristics. 3. Limited shells will automatically restock after each battle, similar to consumable charges, and cannot be purchased with any currency except as part of the standard ship servicing cost after each battle. 4. The 3 ships mentioned above are planned to be available only for the duration of the event, after which they will be removed from the game. We also want to highlight that these ships, like all ships entering the game, including tech tree ships, premiums, and others, will undergo our regular live testing process to ensure they fit within the overall game balance. So, very good, very clear statement there from Wargaming, addressing concerns that many of us had with this new limited shell mechanic. Now, for what was that? Number 4. Yes. So that point they make it number 4 about how these ships are going to be introduced in a limited event and then removed thereafter. That wasn't in the DevBlog, at least as far as I can remember, and I read through it, well, for the video, and I do not remember reading that portion of the DevBlog, and I'm pretty sure it's not there, but someone mentioned it in the comment section of that video that Wargaming later stated that they were for a limited event. That's like the second time in recent memory that some pretty important information has either been not included in a DevBlog or forgotten to be added to a DevBlog and was released somewhere else. I'm assuming they probably asked Wargaming about it on one of the streams that week. The last time that happened was with the Enterprise when she came back for the Leyte Gulf event. I made the video talking about whether or not the Enterprise was worth it in today's World of Warships or not. And, you know, one big thing I had in that video was, well, we don't know how much it's going to cost. Turns out Wargaming did clarify how much it was going to cost on a post on the subreddit. So it's like, oh, okay, well, this is some pretty important information that should probably be included in these DevBlogs or in the article talking about these events. So granted, of course, Wargaming may not know, well, the writers of the DevBlogs and the writers of the articles may not know, obviously, that information at the time that these articles are being written, but it would be nice if that information would come out, obviously, with that to, clarify these things as the news comes out. Granted, of course, Wargaming doesn't really know exactly how the community is going to respond to a lot of information that they give out, so there is that. But again, good on Wargaming for getting this information out here pretty fast and clarifying that premium ammo is not coming to the... Well, that this isn't a test bed for premium ammo. They don't say that premium ammo is not coming to the game, but they're stating that this is not a test bed for premium ammo. So for now, thankfully, that will put our minds at ease. And again, good on Wargaming for getting that information out in a relatively quick manner. All right, so let's take a look at these new ships that are being introduced as part of this new concept for this apparently limited battle type, which we haven't heard much about at all. So if you recall, there were 3 ships they announced as part of this new concept deal, whatever's going on with them. It was the Mets, which is a Toulon, the Vyazma, which is a Borodino, and the Oregon, which is a Georgia. So the Mets, which is the Toulon, its whole thing, the, I guess, improved performance, as you want to call it, for the main battery guns, it's called Fight or Flight. So, as a refresher, these ships will spawn into the game with a smaller amount of their hit pool filled, and you can either chill at your low HP and take advantage of your increased adrenaline rush, basically, or you can heal up and get to a more reasonable amount of HP. So the Met starts at 17,000 HP instead of 42,000 HP, so under 50% HP, and its thing is Fight or Flight. Its Fight or Flight is that its main battery reload and accuracy improves as the hit points decrease up to a minimum effective HP threshold. Going below this threshold does not provide additional bonuses. So the minimum effective HP threshold is 10,625 HP. And at that threshold, you will get a 15% buff to your main battery reload time and a 23% buff to your dispersion. So your dispersion is essentially a quarter better, and you get a 15% buff to your reload time, which the reload time is base, where is it at? Does it not say? Okay, 27 seconds. So you get a 15% buff to that reload time, and you get the standard adrenaline rush buff as well. So you're going to have a very short reload time on the Toulon's guns. Those 8 305mm guns. That's a little nuts, right? So let's see what the Borodino, the Vyazma, however you say it, her thing is. So her Fight or Flight, it is the same, except her minimum effective threshold is 16,050 HP, and she starts at 25,680 HP. So again, a 15% buff to the main battery reload time and a 25% buff to the dispersion. So you can have some very accurate Borodino shells here. And her reload time is 29 seconds base. So you're talking about, good God, what? You're going to have like a 22-second reload time, somewhere around there. And then again, adrenaline rush on top of that. And I'm going to assume you can put the Kutuzov on here as well, so you can get Last Stand on top of all that, which is kind of ridiculous. And this is a cruiser, right? The Borodino is a battleship. They moved her up to tier 9, and they're calling her a cruiser now, so that's a little ridiculous. And the Oregon, which is the Georgia, so her Fight or Flight, again, very similar, 50% buff to the main battery reload time and a 27% buff to her dispersion. And her minimum effective HP threshold is 18,525. And her reload time is 25 seconds, so, oh my god. So you're going to have, what, a 20-second reload just with the, sorry, not a 20, yeah, you're going to have a rounded 20-second reload, like 22, 23-second reload with the default buff, and then Adrenaline Rush on top of that is, yeah, you're going to have like a sub 20-second reload with the Georgia off the bat. And she starts the battle with 29,640 HP instead of her 74,100 HP. So, this is a little goofy. So that's kind of nuts. And her, she gets specialized repair teams. So that's a super heal. Does the Borodino clone get a super heal? Yeah, she does get a super heal. And the Mets, does she get a super heal? Let's see. Yes, she does. So they get super heals. Yeah, these are like ships that are meant to live life on the edge, as they were so described in that original DevBlog. So I wonder what mode they're going to be introduced in. They haven't talked about this limited event just yet too much. So I'm interested to hear more about that. Because, again, with limited events, they tend to, of course, have these limited events and they test out these new mechanics, and then they come over to the live server. Hold on, what about their burst fire mode? What does their burst fire mode do? Well, they do, they have, the improved AP on their guns. And yeah, okay, so yeah, we already talked about that in the previous video. Yeah, they get improved ricochet angles, better damage and such from their AP shells with those limited shells, as they are being called now. Okay, so, you know, it's really out there. It's a very different direction for the game, you know, starting at half of your HP with these insane buffs going on. So we'll see what happens with that. I, of course, am interested and I want to know more as time goes on. But let's go ahead and check out these new ships that are being announced today. So going back up to the top of the DevBlog, we're starting out with the new British destroyer Eskimo, which is a Tier 8 premium ship. They say a tribal-class destroyer, HMS Eskimo, was commissioned in 1938. Her service record includes the Second Battle of Narvik, the invasions of North Africa and Sicily, and operations in the English Channel and the Far East. A sister ship to the Cossack, Eskimo shares the same armament of 4 twin 120mm turrets and 1 quadruple torpedo launcher, as well as great concealment. However, the similarities largely end there. While Cossack's main battery has a high rate of fire and impressive damage per minute, Eskimo packs a bigger alpha strike on a slower reload. She features HE shells with improved damage and penetration, a characteristic typically found on British cruisers and battleships. Her toolbox of consumables also differs significantly from Cossack. While having no access to smoke generator, engine boost, or short-range hydro, she does feature a repair party with similar characteristics as the one found on Daring. Ooh, so a Daring Hill on a Tier 8 destroyer. In battle, Eskimo will primarily function as a skirmisher against large targets, using her improved HE shells to deal significant damage to enemy cruisers and battleships. While she is capable of contesting enemy destroyers in a pinch thanks to her great concealment, she will lose out in duels against enemy gunboats and should avoid these engagements. Additionally, due to the lack of a smoke generator, take caution and pick your fights carefully, as once engaged, it will be difficult to break off without the use of terrain. So, a Tier 8 destroyer meant to go after cruisers and battleships. What type of damage are we talking about here? So our HE shells do 2,300 base damage. They can pin 30mm of armor, and they have a 12% fire chance. But the thing here is they can't pin 32. I mean, 30 is a pretty good threshold to get through at Tier 8, but it's still not 32, which is the one you really need to get through in order to get through, you know, battleship extremities and such at Tier 8 and above. But again, you can take IFHE and you'll be well there. However, it's going to cut your fire chance down from 12 to 6%. So that's, we'll see if they change that as time goes on. And yeah, all she gets is a damage con and a repair party. What's her reload time? 6-second reload. And what's her range? 12.1 kilometers base. Okay. I mean, it sounds interesting. I mean, I would think the big HE Alpha would kind of make up for the... Well, no, not really. I mean, you get like a lot of gun boats at Tier 8 and above. So yeah, probably, yeah. I'm going to listen to the DevBlog and not go after destroyers and Eskimo. But it sounds interesting, you know. More tribal classes are always welcome in the game, as are more Fletchers. But we'll see what happens to the Eskimo. Alright, these other two new ships do not have any images available just yet, but you can kind of use your imagination, if you will, or I'll throw out some images of the corresponding ships on screen. Alright, next up is the Pan-American battleship Valparaiso. Oh, lordy, I murdered that. Valparaiso Tier 9. In the late 1950s, the British and Chilean governments discussed the possibility of selling the last British battleship HMS Vanguard to Chile. If the deal had gone through, the Chilean Navy would have been replenished with the most powerful ship in its history. The ship is named after the second largest Chilean city, which hosts a seaport and a naval base. The name is inherited from one of the first Chilean ironclads, which was commissioned in the mid-1870s. With a modernized Vanguard hull as the basis, Valparaiso features a relatively light main battery for a Tier 9 battleship of 4 twin 381mm turrets. Despite the low caliber, small number of guns, and subpar accuracy, Valparaiso still packs a formidable punch. A high rate of fire and improved ricochet angles on her AP shells ensure that her main battery remains a significant threat, although her lack of HE shells will limit her versatility. Additionally, her secondary battery has received an overhaul, consisting of 4 twin 127mm guns per side. While she may not have a wide array of secondary gun barrels, a high rate of fire and good accuracy will ensure sustained damage output. Valparaiso's improved acceleration gives her an additional edge in handling, while specialized repair teams with a fast action time gives her a strong boost to survivability. Also, in comparison to Vanguard, her central deck and side plating have increased thickness, which will noticeably boost her protection against HE shells. Combat instructions are the linchpin in her kit. Either charged up gradually through secondary hits, or all at once by sinking an opponent. Oh, okay. Valparaiso's combat instructions give her a massive boost to consumable cooldown and will allow her to rapidly heal while active. In battle, Valparaiso wants to get up close and personal to put her secondary battery to work. However, as with any battleship, picking the right moment is key. Combat instructions offer an incredible boost in survivability. Given this, captains may wish to send one of the opponents to the bottom of the sea to instantly charge her instructions before moving into secondary battery range. Otherwise, look for opportunities in the middle to late game to close with isolated enemies. And they note that the model of the ship is still being worked on. So Vanguard with no HE but improved AP pin angles and secondaries. Let's see what they have to say about her stats. So she has 71,600 HP points, 32mm of plating, thank God. What's her reload time? 25-second reload time on her 15-inch guns. It doesn't sound too great, but again with improved penetration angles, yeah, maybe. 1.7 Sigma though. I mean, it is a brawler, so there's that. Secondary guns, again 16 of the 127mm secondary guns with a 8-kilometer range. 4-second reload time to base. Okay, so, with the modules and such, that will get that down pretty low. But no word on their Sigma or their dispersion in the DevBlog. They only pinned 21mm of armor too. I mean, again, it's the American 127s. 9% fire chance, though. Again, you could take the fire flags to get that up a little bit higher. And with that reload time, and if the accuracy is as good as they're talking, yeah, you could have something to cook with here. The combat instructions. Where is that? Oh, there it is. So you get a 4% bit of progress every time a secondary shell hits. Again, 100% of progress when you sink an enemy ship. And you get a 95% boost to your consumable reload time. Holy crap. Dang. Oh, listen to this repair party too. The repair party is only active for 7 seconds, but it regenerates 1,432 HP per second. Okay, that's interesting. Reloads in 80 seconds, and you get 6 charges of it. So it's like a smaller damage con that regenerates more HP. They didn't mention that in the spiel about it. Okay, yeah. Specialized repair team with fast action time. Okay, yes, there we go. They did mention it. All right, I didn't think it was gonna be that fast. I mean, 7 seconds is kind of wacky. I mean, 20 seconds is typically what most of them run for. Around there. So that's interesting. Okay, Wargaming. I'm very interested in this Chilean Vanguard. That is a ship I am going to be keeping my eye on. And you have you can put Old Boy on it, Wacky on it. And when you get 150 secondary and main battery gun hits, you get an even faster reload time on your secondary and main battery guns. So that is, Wargaming may actually be cooking with gas here. So that's a ship I'm very interested in. All right, and then, well, unfortunately, fellas, we are getting a submarine. A British submarine by the name of Seal, which is a tier 10. So they say a large mine-lane submarine which was commissioned to the Royal Navy in 1939. In the Second World War, HMS Seal operated in several theaters from Aden to Halifax. During a combat mission to the Kattegat Strait in May of 1940, the heavy damage submarine was forced to surrender by German aircraft. This Seal can club back. Armed with 6 533mm torp tubes, Seal brings a different twist of submarine gameplay. Similar to most other British submarines, she is armed only with fast homing torpedoes, but boasts high damage per torpedo. long range, and a high ping speed that will make it easier to attack targets from long range. However, her torpedoes do have some significant drawbacks. The range at which they ceased homing is higher than other submarines, giving her targets additional time to maneuver out of the way, and they could have they have a relatively long reload time. Wait, I just lost my spot there. The range at which these torpedoes homing is switched off is 3 kilometers for battleships, 1.7 kilometers for aircraft carriers, 2 kilometers for cruisers, and 680 meters for destroyers, and 240 meters for submarines. In terms of other characteristics, she possesses a large dive capacity, which recharges slowly, but a large hit point pool will allow her to take a hit or two when caught on the surface. In battle, Seal will play as a hybrid between normal submarine gameplay and that of a torpedo destroyer. She is well suited to make long-range attacks on targets with limited opportunity to maneuver, pick out enemy cruisers or battleships positioned near islands, or those with poor maneuverability in open water. Take care to avoid engagement with enemy submarines. In addition to her increased homing cutoff, making landing hits a difficulty, having torpedoes only mounted on the bow will be a significant disadvantage. Tell the I-56. Note that because Seal's model is still undergoing development, we will use a different model, Selkie, with identical parameters for testing purposes. Okay, so you're getting a bit of a sniper submarine here, although with worse homing. Torps, how much damage do these torpedoes do? That's the question. Alright, so the torpedoes do... Where are they at? There they are. 12,033 maximum damage. And what's their reload time? 90 seconds. Woo! That's bad. And a 2.5 kilometer detection range for the torps. That's also bad. My god. Okay. So this doesn't sound like it's going to be that good to me, fellas. Which I mean, hey, a subpar submarine, I'm all here for that because it's less aggravation I have to go through while playing my battleships. So guys, those are the new ships coming to the game, along with an update on the limited shell mechanic, which is, according to Wargaming, in fact, not a test bed for premium ammo. So I know many of us are breathing a sigh of relief there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about these changes to the game with the, well, not really changes, but these new mechanics with the limited shells and these new ships. Again, the Chilean Vanguard, I am looking forward to that one the most out of these ships. Let me know what you guys are looking forward to in this devblog down below. So guys, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and all of that jazz. Hope you guys have a wonderful Friday and wonderful weekend. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.